Hello everybody and welcome back to my Let's Play of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. This is thejonnymar, and we are starting to explore the Dark World, what formerly used to be known as the Golden Land. And before we head over to the first dungeon, or the Dark Palace, we're going to go get an item. And that item is our second medallion. I picked up the other medallion in my last episode on top of Death Mountain, and now I'm gonna go pick up the Quake medallion. But first, because I frequently die against the next boss I'm gonna have to fight, I'm gonna get this Magic of Life to restore all of my health. And the Quake medallion is to the east, up in the general direction of where the Waterfall of Wishing was in the Light World. Or right before the entrance to the Zoras, where you could get the flippers. So head on to the north, dodge the enemies, and you're going to see a little circle of rocks up here. Pick up an item and throw it in. This irritates a huge catfish. I was the one who disturbed you. Sweet. Quake medallion. Now, of the three medallions, you do need these two, the Ether and the Quake, to continue the game because they're used to access some of the later dungeons. The third medallion, which is called Bombos, is not required for the game. It's an extra one. But since I'm doing 100%, I will be getting it and showing you where it is. So we are now ready to head over to the Dark Palace, which, as I mentioned in my last episode, is in the basically same place as the Eastern Palace, or the first dungeon where we got the first pendant. Now, when you're heading over to the Dark Palace, you want to make sure you have at least 110 rupees, because you are going to need to pay off a scampy little thing. You'll see that in a second. Not really sure if scampy is a adjective. A little scamp, I should say. I'm going to be using the energy beam from my sword liberally here to take out these enemies. They pack a wallop. Everything in the Dark World takes a couple hearts off if they hit you. Ah, there he is. Kiki. So you have to pay him 10 rupees to have him follow you, and then you can't get hit by an enemy. If you do get hit by an enemy, he will run back to where you got him, and you have to go back and get him. So use your beam or a weapon to take out all these enemies, and then head on up to the dungeon. And then you have to pay him 100 rupees. Not that a monkey can do anything with rupees, but whatever. And he will open it up for you. I don't think there's a way to get in here otherwise. You do have to pay him. At least as far as I know. So you'll notice right away that the architecture, at least in this first room, is very similar to the architecture of the Eastern Palace. The main difference being we don't have bottomless pits here in the side rooms. We're going to have some new enemies in this area. The first you just saw there is a Helmasaur. They have a little bone shield on their head that can block your attacks. You can't actually harm them if you try to strike them from the front with your sword. You also have these little energy balls that will light up if you try to hit them, and it will shock you. And these guys mirror your movements. You have to take them out with arrows. So be careful in here. Dodge. Head on up the stairs, and we get the map. And we see those cracks in both of the side walls there. You can take them both out. The room on the right leads to some fairies, and the room on the left leads to a key. Bingo. If you see those blocks there up to the north, look like laughing little idiots. You can knock those down with a item that we're going to be getting in this dungeon. Use your mirror to head back to the entrance to cut some time off having to backtrack. Now let's try the left path. Basically, we're trying to stock up on some keys here, because we're going to need them in a little bit. Alright. You are going to have to backtrack a little bit in this dungeon. And now, one of my least favorite enemies, the turtles. Just dodge them for now, you can't hurt them. Bomb this area of the floor that looks breakable. And fall down. And this little staircase up here will take us to the big key. Jump back in. There's another little key down here under this switch. And dodge everything in the room, including these crazy head guys. Now we're back towards the beginning in that right room. You can actually push this statue over here to access the middle. So that cuts a little time off. Now we're gonna head to the right. Shove and pick up the key. Keep heading north and to the left. We're gonna get a new obstacle in the next room. The falling pathway. So if you're not careful here, the pathway is actually falling behind us. And if you wait too long, it will eventually catch up to you and knock you off. You'll have to start all over. So we are looking for the special item of this dungeon, and this room is crawling with these little dinosaurs that spit fire. So I'm going to be launching energy beams as I run around here. Avoid this chest for now. Try to knock them out. Whoa. There's a key down here to the south. And you actually have to bomb the wall to the right. So head over to the right and up. And then you'll see a crack. You can bomb it. As long as you have the big key, you can get in and get your new special item, the hammer. You can use it to pound on other things too. Now we can actually take on those turtles. Up to this point, if you tried to attack them, they would just reflect everything back at you. But now that we have the hammer, we can actually hit them with the hammer, and that'll cause them to flip over so that we can attack their belly. Jeez. That was close. So that chest in the middle there has the compass. First we'll head downstairs though. We need one more key, which is down here, as well as a ton of rupees. Not sure why you miss rupees every once in a while. Ugh. For some reason, you just can't pick them all up. Sometimes that one doesn't register when you try to pick it up. Here's the other key. We're in the money. We're in the money. Na 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 na. Alright, let's see if we can get all these guys to come after me over here so I can get the compass. Come on, follow me. Follow me. And get out of here. You can actually bomb the cracks there in the wall, but it's just a bottomless pit, kind of a fake out. Kind of cruel of the designers to put that in. Now you get to the middle, so I'm just gonna freeze all these guys with the other medallion and show you the awesome combo of ether and hammer. Freeze enemies, bust them, and you get magic Uh-oh, don't go off the edge. Oh, that was close. Anyway, the awesome combo of the other medallion and the hammer. You almost always get magic refills when you use it. Let's switch over here. We gotta push the statue on top of it. If you do need hearts, those skull switches on the left there have hearts underneath them. And we have more of these decoys or clones that we have to kill. red ones will actually shoot energy beams at you if you face them. Shoot an arrow into this guy's eye to extend the wall. And now we're getting to the point in the dungeon where we're going to have a ton of turtles to take out. So I'm going to probably take a couple hits. Hopefully I won't die. This is the dungeon. For some reason, against the turtle enemies and the boss of this dungeon, I almost always die at least once or twice. Which is why I carry fairies around, and actually is why I traded for a life potion. So I have something to use in the actual fight. I've died so many times on the boss that I'm a little bit more cautious these days. Alright, turtle hell in here. Ugh. You gotta knock the hammer down in their vicinity to flip them over. Some of them speed up for some reason. It's really annoying. You gotta slash them twice. Now, an alternative is you can use the hammer to hit them again while they're flipped over, and it'll kill them in one shot. But the risk with that is if you miss them, it flips them back over again, and they'll come right after you and hit you. 3 hits, that's not too bad. We're almost to the boss. Just a couple more turtles. I'll show you the double hit. See, takes him out in one shot. All right, here comes the boss. Helmasaur King. So this big guy, you gotta use your hammer to hit his mask. You gotta dodge him and his tail. If you stay in the middle, you won't get hit by the tail. You can also dodge it by running to the left or the right. You gotta be careful that he doesn't run into you, because he does a ton of damage, as you can see. And he starts spitting fireballs. I think I'm just gonna use my medicine. Better safe than sorry, folks. So dodge these fireballs. Continue to run up and hit his mask. You can use bombs too, but I find I always miss. Alright, we've done enough damage. His mask is gone. I gotta hit him in the skull. You'll notice he's going a lot faster. Jeez. Ugh. Come on. Alright, dodge. He's almost dead. Ah. Whew. There we go. First Dark World dungeon completed. Catch the crystal. And as you can see, we're collecting crystals now instead of pendants. Each crystal has the spirit of one of the descendants of the sages. And they all happen to be women for some reason. And each one of them will tell you a nice long story that you have to sit through. So mentioning that this used to be the Golden Land, but because Ganon, who is actually a new name we haven't seen in this game so far, we just saw Aghanim, took the power of the Golden Land and captured all of the maidens. So we have to go around to all the dungeons and defeat all the enemies and save the maidens. And then they will use their power to allow us to go after Ganon. And by saving this one, it actually allows us to see all of the other locations of the other maidens on our map. And with the magic hammer, that opens up the world quite a bit. So we are going to be continuing in my next episode, going towards our next dungeon. So thank you for watching as always, and I will see you next time.